Howdy folks, welcome to Katie Phillips Scrapbook Designs. I'm Katie and today we're going to work on page number 2 in the Enjoy the Moment mini album. For this album we're using the Botanical Garden collection by Echo Park. Later on in the video I'm going to do a tutorial on how to do a no frame shaker. But for the moment, let's get started with a couple of flaps and some pockets. So I'm going to move page number 1 out of the way so that I don't get anything on it. Let's start with the flaps. We have 2 flaps. They're both 3 3/4 by 6 1/2, and we're going to score the 3 3/4 inch sides at 3 inches and 3 1/4. So that's going to put a 1/2 inch tab for attaching to the base page and a 1/4 inch gusset on them. The mats for the exterior of the flaps, it's going to be double matted. We have 2 outer flap larger mats. Those are 2 7/8 by 6 3/8. And then on top of those, we're going to put 2 smaller mats. Those are 2 3/4 by 6 1/4. And on the inside, we're going to do 2 photo spots. And these are 2 7/8 by 3 7/8. So it's a 3x4 photo. You'd have to crop it down to either 2 7/8 by 3 7/8 or 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. Then underneath that, we're going to put these, which are a a texture fade. These are a texture fade embossing folder by Tim Holtz, and I forget the name of the folder, but I will link it in the description box down below. And these are just 65-pound white cardstock that I ran through with that folder, and then I went back over them with distress inks, not distress oxide, just regular distress inks, gathered twigs, frayed burlap, and walnut stain, I believe. And I've cut these down to 2 7/8 by 2 3/8. So let's assemble the flaps real quick. And I just remembered that this is going to have a magnet closure, so the right flap needs to be glued down first. Actually, both flaps need to be glued down first so that I can get the magnet placed on the right flap before I put the second mat down. So the next step is going to be to glue these to the base page. and put a magnet right there. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 magnets there because there's going to be a little bit of thickness between these magnets and the magnets that they're going to have to catch on. Now we can add the second mat. On the base page, we're going to add stacked pockets. The smaller of the pockets is 5.5 by 3. We're going to score the 5.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, fold that under and score again at 4.5 inches. The 3 inch side, we're going to score that at 2.5 inches. The mats for the bottom, the larger one is 4 3/8 by 2 3/8, and the smaller one is 4 1/4 by 2 1/4. So after we score and lay down double-sided tape and miter the edges, we're going to mat this. Then we're going to wrap it around the mat for the larger pocket. The mat for the larger pocket, again, we're going to double mat it. The larger mat is 4 3/8 by 3 3/8. And then the smaller mat is 4.5 by 2, and we're going to glue that to the top of the larger mat. And the smaller pocket is going to conceal where the pattern paper cuts off. The next pocket is 5.5 by 4.5. You know what? I'm actually going to dry fit this to make sure that this is going to fit. And I'm going to be able to close everything. Yes. Okay. So the next pocket is 5.5 by 4.5. We're going to score the 5.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, fold that under, score again at 4.5 inches. The 4.5 inch side, we're going to score at 4 inches. we're going to wrap this pocket around, actually we're going to mount this first on this pocket, and then we're going to wrap this pocket around this mat. This is the base page mat, and it is 4 3/8 by 6 3/8. And then we've got a piece that's 4 1/4 by 2 3/4 that we're going to glue to the top here. With mounting the pocket like this, since this fully assembled piece is going to go almost the entire height and width of the page, the key is to get this mat properly positioned. And you want the bottom of this mat right up against the score line here for the bottom of the pocket. And you want it centered between the two side score lines. Now we're ready to glue this down to the base page. I'm going to line up the bottom of the pockets with the bottom of the base page, and then center the pockets between these first 1/2 inch score marks on both of the flaps. All right, now we're ready to build our frameless shaker closure. Okay, for this shaker, you're going to need a piece of acetate that is 4 inches by 5 inches, 2 3x4 pieces of cardstock. I've chosen a 3x4 cut apart from the collection, and just a solid piece of 3x4 cardstock. And you're going to need a shaker mix. This is just a custom mix that I put together from sequins and glitter and other things that I've got on hand. And I'm going to use a scoreboard. The scoreboard is optional. It just makes things a little bit easier. And you're going to need double-sided tape and glue. You will not need any foam tape. So with the acetate, make a score at 3/8 of an inch. And at 3.5 inches. It might not be really visible, and you may have to score it a couple of times, but you'll be able to see it when you're working with it. Then rotate it 90 degrees, make another score at 3/8 of an inch. And at 4.5 inches. This is going to give you an acetate window that is 1/8 of an inch wide, wider than your cardstock pieces. And I don't know if you can see here in, maybe if I put some white cardstock up against it, you might be able to see that a little bit better. But I can just make out the score lines, and I am going to go around the edges on the bumpy side with double-sided tape. And I'm going to go around all 4 edges. And it doesn't have to be right on the edge, but you definitely don't want it to be right up next to the score line either. I'm going to burnish all of that down. And we're going to clip the corners. And we're going to clip all 4 corners. This works best if your shaker mix does not have any glitter in it. Mine unfortunately has glitter in it, so there will be a little bit of glitter escaping. Now we're going to take our 3x4 cut apart and lay it face down in between all the score lines. And I'm going to pull up 2 of the shorter lines and fold those over, and 1 of the longer side. And we want to burnish that down real good. Okay, now we've got this side still open. We're going to add our shaker mix. However much you want. That looks like a good amount. And we're going to fold this last piece over and burnish that down. Now, the double-sided tape on its own isn't really strong enough to hold that closed. So we're going to back this with some glue and cardstock. I am going to add, because we're going to have the magnets in between that cardstock and the shaker. So let's go ahead and add the magnets to that shaker back. I'm going to want the shaker somewhere right in here. So now I'm going to press down and pick up those magnets. And now we can add the back. Now to secure the closure, I'm going to add glue to the back of the left side. I'm going to let magnets decide where this is going to fall and press down. And that's it for page number 3. If you have any questions, leave me a comment in the comment section down below. I release new videos every Friday and Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe for more mini album related content. And I will leave links to all the materials in the description box down below. Bye.